This is the podcast that we ask our guests from in front and behind the camera, how did they get their foot in the door? What was the key to unlocking their success? What's their story?
Join us as we chat to the creatives behind Zootropolis 2.
My podcast is usually about, how someone's career begins, and you've had such an amazing story. And our tagline is, what is your story? And yours is like one of the best in the industry. I'd love to ask the love of acting and, just working in the film industry, where did that come from? And obviously, Temple of Doom was your first sort of hurrah into film. Was that where your love for filmmaking began?
Absolutely. It's pretty amazing that was my first job, and it was because I had such an incredible time working on that movie, and everything was just so positive. I was so well taken care of. I was so well directed. Everywhere I look, there were, generosity and fun and humility. It was just like, it really shaped who I am, even, as an actor and as a person as well, too. And the first time I saw a movie in a movie theater with an audience, I was in it. It was wow. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And as you can imagine, when I saw that movie, we shot it for like 6 months. And when I saw the final product, it was so rewarding. It was so fun to watch. I instantly fell in love with acting, and I knew right then and there that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I mean, Temple of Doom is I saw it was the first film that I saw out of the Indiana Jones films. It's my favourite. I love all the monkey brains, all of it. It's incredible. That film, and talking to you now, is like, it's a big moment for me. So seeing you here and doing this film is just amazing. And the fact that, after, it was 20 years, was it, that you had a kind of a break from...
I did, yeah.
Coming back, everywhere, everything, all at once, winning the Oscar, that speech is, I cannot think of another speech that is more emotional, more raw. That moment, can you take us back to that? Like, that must have been mind-blowing.
It was. I still cannot believe that night happened. It's one of the most memorable nights of my life. I didn't. I fantasized about being at the Academy Awards. I fantasized about winning, but I didn't think it would ever come true. To me, it was always like wishful thinking. So for that to actually happen, it was beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And also somehow, as the universe would have it, that night, not only was I with my, EEAAO family, but my first movie family was also in there as well, with Spielberg and Harrison Ford presenting the Best Picture category, and John Williams there, and Kate Capshaw, who played Willie Scott in Temple of Doom. So they were all there, and somehow it just, I thought the night couldn't get any better, and as it went along, it just got better and better, and it was just absolutely incredible. And as you can see, I was quite emotional when Ariana DeBose announced my name. I just felt like, all that emotions that I've held in for 20-something years, having, one, to have to step away because of lack of opportunities, and to be able to have this incredible second chance and come back and to do that movie and to win an Oscar was unbelievable.
So inspiring, man. I'm an actor myself. To see that moment just shows you at any time things can change, and that it means a lot to all of us watching that. So thank you for that. And I'm getting emotional myself. But I want to say as well that your whole career and the whole comeback is it's amazing to watch. So thank you for that.
I think that's what made this entire journey so meaningful, is meeting people in person, like you, like this conversation we're having, and knowing how much my story has made an impact on you, and you saying like you're an actor, and I've met so many the last couple of years, and also some wonderful people who have told me that they're going through kind of the same thing, sharing their incredible stories of struggles and wanting to give up, and kind of my story kind of helped them hold on to that dream. That is the most amazing feeling.
Is that your advice, to not give up, just keep?
Yeah, to hold on to the things that make you happy. It's really important.
I have to help my family! Cannonball!
And this film's a lot of fun. I'm a big fan of the first one. I can't believe it's been nearly 10 years since the first. Crazy. How did you get involved with this? I mean, this is a wonderful character.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Zootropolis one when it came out 9 years ago. I didn't think I would ever get to be a part of this incredible family. One day I was just at home, got a call from my agent, and he told me the news, but with very limited information. They were very secretive, but I was just excited. I went in to the iconic Disney animation building, met with Jared Bush, Yvett, Merino, our producer, and the creative team, and I was just, the whole time I was really nervous. I was like, wow. This is incredible. I hope I get the job, and sure enough, they told me about this character. Gary the Snake is a brand new character. He's a poisonous pit viper, and I was like thinking, oh, okay, so he's going to be the villain, and I didn't think my voice sounded scary at all. But it was until they explained who he really is, which is, when you meet him in person, he's really this friendly, goofy guy with a big heart, and I couldn't wait to voice him. It was incredible.
I mean, it's a great character because, as you say, I went into it thinking, well, he's the villain. They set it up that way, and I don't want to give too much away, but that all kind of changes. In terms of, animation is obviously a very different process to being on film. How long does this process take for you going in and recording the voice? Is it a long bit of time, or I don't know what the process is?
So when I got the role, it was about a year ago. And they've been working on this movie for quite some time then. I started going in, doing my recording sessions sometime, like very early this year. And I went in, every recording session is 3 hours, and I went almost maybe 8 or 9 times. The story was constantly changing. It was in fluid. Every time I go in, something little different. Whether it's a joke or the storyline or the way character, Gary the Snake, his personality changed as well too. It was a fascinating process.
Do you get much of a sense when you're recording? Do they show you images of what the character will look like? So it's a big surprise when you first see the movie.
Yes, I didn't get to read the script, so I wasn't aware of the full scope of the story. There was no visuals. The only visual that I got was my character, which they had a poster of him up on the wall behind me as I was recording these lines. And it's really there was not much to go off of, except with my director in the recording booth, and that's about it. So it does take a lot of imagination when you're doing voice acting.
Yeah, it's a strange process, isn't it? I mean, this film it's just beautiful looking, and it always fascinates me when they do a sequel. They've got to evolve it and make it bigger and better, but also keep it into the sort of the original and try and keep the characters kind of the same. And bringing in a new character like yours is kind of it's a risk because you want to have another iconic character.
That's the best part, is because this is the second time, this is Zootropolis 2. So one thing that I did get to go off of was going back and watch the original, the first one, and kind of know, okay, so this is what the world is about. Even though we have new locales, new cities, new characters, but I thought the first one was perfect. I didn't know how they could top that. But having seen Zootropolis 2, somehow they did it. They made it funnier, more clever, more entertaining, bigger in scope. The action sequence is incredible, and I just feel very proud and fortunate to be a part of this family.
Now for a quick break. We'll be back to the episode shortly. If you enjoyed this episode and want to support us, get early access and exclusive content and episodes, click to join our YouTube channel and become a member now.
Please leave us a positive rating. Add us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at lifeinfilmpod. Essentially, please like and subscribe everything. It makes a huge difference. Thank you.
Life in Film has partnered with Betterhelp to provide you with access to the largest online therapy service in the world. And it can all be done from the comfort of your own home, from a phone, tablet or laptop. No commute, cutting down travel costs, and most importantly, it's affordable. With over 1,000 therapists in the UK, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a wide variety of expertise in mental health. If you need someone to talk to and you're thinking of giving therapy a go, BetterHelp is a great option. And being a listener of the podcast, you get 10% off. That's 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/lifeinfilm. That's betterhelp.com/lifeinfilm. Life in Film.
We are sponsored by movieposters.com. Are you a movie fan? I presume you are. Well, at movieposters.com, you can shop for all your favourite posters in one place. The #1 source for high-quality, authentic movie posters. From new releases to cult classics and 100% authentic originals. Thinking of having a browse? Well, if you see a poster that tickles your fancy, as a listener of the podcast, you get 10% off. That's 10% off with promo code lifeinfilm10. That's promo code lifeinfilm10. So why not give it a go? And back to the show. I'd love to ask, my podcast is usually about how, someone's career begins, and that love of animation and just working in the film industry and sort of deciding that you want to take the leap and be freelance is it's a dangerous, scary thing. Where did that sort of come from? Were you a child when you decided you wanted to sort of follow this career?
It's interesting. I growing up, I never thought I would wind up at Disney Animation. That's not something that was even in my head.
Pretty good,
right? Honestly, what I did a lot as a kid was I would make home movies with my brother and with my really good friends, just for us. I wasn't trying to get into film school. I just liked storytelling. My whole family, they were really amazing storytellers. So I grew up sort of being immersed in that. As I went to university, I studied English and I did a lot of writing there. And it's not till I moved to Los Angeles, I still actually didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I liked the idea of being in the film world, but I didn't know what. And I bounced around from job to job. And the two formative things for me, one, I worked on feature films. So I got the sense of these big character arcs and really immersive worlds. But then I also worked on sitcom television, which is highly collaborative. And as I looked around and I said, well, who is telling the kind of stories that make me feel the best, that are stories that I'd love to be in that world and figure out how they do it, was Disney Animation. Because it is this unbelievable amount of imagination, but there were stories that were character-centric and ones that had an optimistic view of the world, which is hard. It's hard to put out a story that's, that has optimism in it. And there was something about that felt like, man, this is a place I'd love to be. And the secret is I just hounded people forever until I got my foot in the door, and Byron Howard, my now directing partner, hired me 14 years ago.
Wow. And
yeah. You know what? It wasn't on I didn't know my job existed when I was a kid growing up, and so it was something that I discovered as my adult life. I was looking for a job, and so I got a job as a temp assistant and at Disney Animation, and I ended up getting hired on after a few months, and I said, well, I'll stick around for 5 years, kind of see where it takes me. And it's been 29 years now, and here I am, and I'm really, through that time, I've discovered such a love and passion for storytelling and filmmaking, and it really kind of fits my need. I've always been that person of like, let's organize everything, let's try to figure out how we're going to do this, and
she's amazing at what she does. She's truly amazing at what she does. It takes a lot of work and patience and brilliance to make any movie. Our movies are incredibly difficult, and you need an amazing producer to make that possible.
That's kind.
This is not your worst idea.
Wow, that was almost a compliment.
Your worst idea is what you did with your ears.
First of all, big fan of the first one, so I was scared to watch this one. It's a bit like Toy Story.
We keep hearing that.
Yeah, it's like Toy Story when that the sequel came out. Everyone's like, please just don't please stop. Absolutely loved it. Yeah. You guys have worked together multiple times before. What was it about animation that made you want to sort of get into this?
What I love about working in animation, there are no boundaries in what we can create and what we can do, and so it really is just your only limits are your imagination, because we can literally build anything. We can build a whole city full of animals and have them walking around and make it feel as if this place exists and this city exists, and so to be able to work at Disney Animation and do it with the best artists, animators, and artists in the world is really, I find I'm so fortunate and so grateful that I get to work there.
That's a really good point. It is a team sport, and I think that's one of the things that draws me to animation the most, specifically at Disney Animation, because 700 people worked on this movie, but everyone has a say in every single part of it. So over the 5 years, you're getting brilliant ideas across the board from everybody, or if something's not working, someone stepping up and saying that. So it's really fun to create a story in a world as this big group.
And how long is the process? I'm always fascinated by. Sometimes you hear it takes quite a while to get these things.
Yeah, it's about 4 to 5 years typically from just the nugget of an idea to it being in theaters. But that's not how long it takes to animate. So usually it's just the last years when we're actually animating. That means literally taking the characters and moving them in three-dimensional space. The other 3 to 4 years is figuring out what the story is. It's pressure testing ideas, a lot of experimentation, and then building all of those things. So you don't just have a character and say, okay, we now have a new snake, go. Someone has to design that snake. They have to put a skeleton into that snake. They have to figure out what kind of scales they are, choose the color, start to move the character around. So much of it is actually building this believable world and believable characters.
Well, I spoke to Kiwi Quan just before this. Lovely, obviously lovely guy.
Yeah.
His character is fantastic. As you say, it's a new character, so bringing something new is kind of, I guess there's a risk there. You've got to, you like, this could be a new iconic character. Did you play around with sort of different versions of what that would be? Was it always going to be a snake?
It was always going to be a snake, actually. Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense. It's a very integral part of the story.
Yeah, but I'd say specifically in the first film, it was all about bias and stereotype through predator and prey. In the mammal world, predator and prey, that's a very specific line. It's very clear which is which. In the reptile world, actually it's not. A lot of reptiles are both predator and prey, so it didn't make sense to see them in that first film. For this one, we knew we wanted to talk about differences. Definitely it's about Nick and Judy, and they're very different animals. The way they see the world is different, but we wanted to mirror that with mammals, and reptiles made the most sense. There's such different classes of animals. And then we thought about what's an animal within the reptile world that a lot of people come in with baggage about. That would be snakes. She's terrified of snakes, and we really wanted to torture her for many years.
They did.
I really didn't know where you were going to go with this one, and it's much bigger in scope. The action sequences are incredible. And saying you're going to do a sequel to this film, what is the first step? I guess, is it the script?
Yeah, I think it all starts with the story and really focusing on Judy and Nick and their who they are and their character and their story. It's very easy to get overwhelmed by the fact, okay, we're really going to try to tackle this second film, and so we try to put all that aside and really just go back and focus on character and story and who they are. And then from that, it's, Jared will write a first pass of the script, and then from there, we consider the script as a living, moving document. It's never okay, this is it and it's done. We know it will continue to evolve as we we board it and we screen it. We cut it together and we screen it in boards, and then we get notes and we tear it all down and do it again. And so the story itself continues to evolve. And again, we have an amazing story team who really, take the time to press, they don't just get the script and say, oh, this is your sequence, go board it. We really have these deep discussions and where they're talking about story, pressing on things, questioning, why do we have this here? Do we need this scene here? And so I love that process. It takes a very long time, and sometimes it's a little stressful, but we really kind of see the story start to evolve, and as time passes, it starts to kind of come into shape.
If you enjoyed this episode and you want to support us, get early access and exclusive content, all ad-free, click and join the Life in Film YouTube channel and become a member now.
Thank you to our guests, and thank you as always to our sponsors, movieposters.com and Betterhelp.
Thank you, man. We have to wrap up now, and one last thing I want to ask. Goonies 2, is it happening? It's one of my favourite films. I'd love.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We're working on it. Yeah.
Thanks, man. It's a real pleasure. Thank you. I love this dynamic. The passion as well, guys. It's lovely to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Very nice to meet you.
It was great to see the film as well.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It's an